I know it's tempting to write code immediately when you want to create a new project, but it's way better and way more efficient to plan what you want to do first. And planning doesn't need to take a long time. Of course, you could use productivity tools like Jira, like Trello, but what I do in order to not waste time because of productivity tools, which is a paradox, I simply plan my app using a simple text editor. You see this super simple text editor in which I list everything I have to do. And then when a task is done, I simply replace the dash with an X. For example, let's say we've done these 2 tasks. And so when I go back to this project, I immediately know that the next thing I have to do is this task. This will save you a lot of time. So at first I should even have added a task. So you see now that it's done. We did this on the previous video. You just replace the dash with an X. The next task is to find a vanilla JS calendar. And this is also a very important skill, to know what you should do 100% on your own and what you can do using a code already developed by another developer. So as we want to plan our weeks of movies, this will be done using a calendar. So there is no need to develop this calendar on your own. Of course, you could also have as a side project the fact of developing your own calendar, and lots of companies make a lot of money developing components that then they sell. But we won't do this because we want to create a project, not to develop this calendar. So let's immediately see what calendar I found. So I did this offline to save you 5 minutes to find one. Then I tried a couple of calendars, which took maybe 15 minutes. And I was really happy with this calendar. Okay, it's already 3 years old, but I wanted something simple, extremely lightweight, and it was exactly the case of this calendar. So please show your love and star it if you like it. I already did. And now we can just download this calendar. You see, it was super fast because it's just maybe 11 kilobytes once zipped. So let's just copy it inside the sandbox where we can unzip it. We have this vanilla calendar master, and you can see it's also a great opportunity to see how other people develop components and how they do it in a nice way that allows us to immediately understand what's going on. So during development we will use this version, because let's open it inside VS Code. You will see it's relatively small. It's just 199 line of codes, including the commands. And you can see that there is this uppercase V, which means that you can use it as a constructor. So you can use new in front of a vanilla calendar to create a new instance of this calendar. This is a common convention to use this uppercase V as the first letter to indicate users that you can create a new instance like this with a new vanilla calendar, which we will do. Then you can immediately see that you have clear names, function names. So I don't have to look at the details. I know that this is used to add events, this one is used to remove events. It's probably used only internally, so I don't need to waste time looking inside the functions. What I'm interested in are the options, because you see we have this onSelect method, and you know that when a function starts with on followed by a specific event, it's probably what will be used when you will click on a specific day of the calendar, and this is what happened. So the guy did a good job at naming his functions and options. And I had the feeling that data would be the date selected, and it was, and LM is the HTML element itself on which you click on the calendar, so we don't care about this. So this is data that would interest you. Also, if you want to use this calendar in a project that is not in English, you know that this is a place where you can replace this month with the months in your language. This is where you would put the names. I used French words there, so I put janvier, février, Mars here. And if you want to replace the weekday with another language, you can use here the days in your own language, and it worked. So you see the developer did a great job. I named him properly, his functions, and properties. I hope you will do the same with your own libraries and components. So with all this, we can see that the guy exposed this vanilla calendar by attaching it to window, which means once we register this script in our app, we will be able to access it using window.vanillacalendar, which we will in a moment. So, and last but not least, when you use external components, make sure that there is no malicious code. So let's just look for the presence of a fetch, for example, that would try to fetch data from a malicious source. So there is no fetch. It's a good sign. So now let's just use this calendar. Let's just create a libs folder. It's a nice convention in which we will add a calendar folder in which we will put this vanilla.js calendar. So you can simply right click and reveal in Explorer, so you can copy and paste the calendar inside this libs calendar project. So let's go to this vanilla calendar and copy it inside libs calendar. Also, I noticed it while I was preparing this video that you need also to use a CSS file, else the result would be super ugly. So also copy this vanilla calendar CSS file and paste it. I decided to use it to paste it in the same calendar folder instead of creating also a CSS folder, but it's really up to you. Okay, so now if we go back to VS Code, we can see that inside calendar we have this vanilla calendar.js file. If I double click it, yeah, this is what we've just inspected together a couple of minutes ago, and you have these CSS files. So now it's time to make use of it, simply by going to index.html